Hi, it's Karen Rogers, and we are back for more. I've got Melvin, my neighbor, to join me today.
In the house.
And we are talking tornado stories. We're in Kansas, and my latest video blog was about tornadoes. And today I will talk about my tornado story. Mel has actually seen a tornado, and then you can comment and share your tornado stories if you have them too. They're really interesting things to talk about.
Seen one and here to tell about it.
Yeah, now I've lived in Kansas almost my entire life, and I've never actually seen a real tornado. I've seen threatening storms. I've seen like what could be a tornado, but luckily I've never actually witnessed one. And the scariest thing that ever happened to me was I was a little kid, and I was at a 4-H meeting. And a 4-H meeting is a meeting for farm kids, basically. The H's, there's 4 H's, stands for head, health, heart, and hands. But I was at this meeting, and there was a big rainstorm, thunderstorm that came in, and the sirens went off, and I had never heard sirens in my life. And so what are those sirens?
Police sirens?
No, the warning sirens.
Oh, big difference. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't police. And so I said, what are those? What's that noise? And that means they've seen a tornado. And so we need to take cover. So we had to walk about 2 blocks away. And I had this vision that the tornado was coming straight toward us and was scared to death. And so we went to this basement that was underneath the church. And it was not a finished basement. There was spiders and dirt and pipes. And I just remember being so scared, and my parents weren't around, and I just remember praying, please let me live through this.
Praying.
And I made it.
Okay.
And since then, I never lived in a house with a basement. I think that was part of the fear. And so as I grew up as a little kid, I remember I would have these reoccurring tornado nightmares. And when I would have a nightmare, and I really, to this day, I sometimes still have a tornado nightmare, but they always seem to come one after the other. Just when you think you've got through one, here comes another and another. And so for most of my childhood life, I was really scared of tornadoes. And now that I live in a basement, a place with a basement, it's not as scary, but that's my tornado story. But you've actually witnessed one.
I actually witnessed
one.
And
I want to know what that was like.
It was real scary at first, but but to make a long story short, my auntie was the only one that owned the house in the whole family, in the whole generation. She was the only, but her house, rest in peace, Aunt Rosie Dickens, I love you, but her house was, man, it was a piece of stuff. I mean, I ain't gonna say that other word, but it was barely holding on. I mean, you can, if you run past there, it'll fall down. My auntie was the kind of person to say, if you shut her door, it'll make her light bill go up. Or so if you walk past her house too fast, you might make the back door fall off or something. So, I mean, that's how unstable it was. But back to the point. My auntie stayed on 12th and Waverly, and she stayed on a hill. And in her neighborhood, they had what they called a home improvement program, and where the government offered money to update people's houses to bring greater values to the community. And it was about 20 houses on the block, and my auntie was the only one that didn't. For some reason, she just didn't want no government money. She didn't want them fixing up her house or nothing. So, I mean, we was mad at her, but we couldn't get mad at her because that's my auntie. She from an old school, she from Mississippi, and you can't mess with the Mississippi old school women, boy. They beat you in the head with a cane or something. So, back to the story. So, all of a sudden, that's where we used to go for the tornado. So, one day, we outside playing, and we feel the heat. And then all of a sudden, we feel that little cool air come through, and then we feel that little rain. Well, when you feel all them things come together, something's brewing in the air, something's about to happen.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew something wasn't right, and then it get dark. It get in there. I mean, here it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden the sky get black. I mean, it gets real scary. So we all got together. Went up. We know the safe haven was go over to your auntie's house, so we went over there. And the thing of it is that my auntie she didn't participate in the home improvement loan, so all the neighbors was mad at her because they figured that her house was holding up the value of the whole community, and so on, so on. So to make a long story short, here comes the tornado. So we sitting on the screened in porch, and we see the tornado at the bottom of the hill. We actually see it, and my auntie stayed on the hill all the cars were parked on the hill, and we had a little piece of car, and you know how it is, boy, when the tornadoes come, people get to praying to God and asking Him to forgive them for all the sins, and I mean, you know, you really get to talking to God.
Yeah.
So the tornado was coming. We watching it at the bottom of the hill, and it's tearing up everything on the block. I mean, we watching it going in and out and up and down. And when it get to my auntie's house, we knew that all it took us for a little rumble, and it's going to be a domino connection on the cars, and you know one was going to go into the other one. It's going to be all bad, and we was going to be out of a car, and well, we didn't think about our life. We was worried about it's a shame, but we was thinking about the car. We weren't thinking about our life. You know, hey, we gonna leave that subject alone. But we was more thoughtful about the car than we was our life, and you know. But anyway, so as the tornado came up, it got to my auntie's house. It done tore up everything on the bottom of the hill, all the houses. It got to my auntie's house. She had a fenced-in yard, and a tree was in the middle of the yard. We actually seen the tornado. It comes around the tree, picks this tree up, and throws it up the street into a house. Mm. Well, when we seen that, first we were scared, but when we seen it throw that tree up, pull that tree up out of the ground and throw it up the street, we wasn't scared no more because we felt we were safe because it didn't affect the house. So the next day, all the neighbors comes up, and they're wondering why, you know, they mad at my auntie or something like, how is your house still standing here and all everybody's house on the block is all tore up? We done had it upgraded, and the government done spent all this money and all this paneling and new roofs and everything, and now it's all tore up, and your house was the rankest one on the block, and this is the only one standing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the moral to this story is this right here. When God talks, people listen, because not a scrap of paint, not a panel, not a nail, not a screw, nothing was touched on my auntie's house, and it was the most pieces. It was the raggiest house on the block. It was the raggiest house on the block, but for some reason, God solid the house on stable ground, and did nothing happen to it. And so the moral to my story is, hey, when God talks, people all listen.
Yeah, I hear a lot of those stories. There were some people that were in a drainage ditch when a tornado came, so they went down there, and the tornado ripped off a wristwatch.
Not their arm, but just a watch.
Yeah, they took off the wristwatch, and then a sock.
Not the leg, but a sock. Y'all hear that? Not the leg. It could have took a leg. It could have took the whole body, but just a sock.
Just weird stories like that happen with tornadoes. And so during a tornado, be safe, and thank you for watching. I'm Karen Rogers. I educate, motivate, entertain. And just for fun, a little music to finish this off.
Hey.